see, you know, down to the individual genetic sequences, but then they want to be able to zoom out and see the larger picture. So fine detail and then the larger context in which it resides is useful. Like here, you can see the actual neurons and the formation of the neurons, but then how they go across the different layers in the brain, and that actually tells you information processing in the structure of the brain. So you can see the larger structure that it sits in, but then you can see it down to the individual fiber layer.
Could I insert one thought here?
Yeah.
You can get a big image with a projector, but when you step to it and you're working with a group here, you've got two problems. One is your body's going to include it, and the second is the projector is not going to have as much resolution as a bunch of tile displays. So I can be in here and actually be reading the text on someone else's Word document that they've beamed in from remotely, and still have all this screen real estate. So it's expensive, it's cumbersome in some ways, but it does have some unique advantages.
So following up on that a little bit, this lab is about, the reason we formed this lab at part was to understand collaborations, to understand what it takes to get teams to work really well together. I think it's a fundamental part of everything we do at NASA and in the world in general. So we want to really understand how we can best do that. So this lab is really about investigating that more than particular accomplishment per se. We want to actually understand the structure of how you do that. And one of the test cases we haven't yet done, but this was designed and we thought about doing in this room, is proposal writing, for example. Mm-hmm. So how do you, as John was saying, how do you take a whole bunch of screens with the whole pages of a proposal, which these days, somebody puts them on a wall. So you print them out and you put them on a wall.
In fact, my living room right now, I have a proposal due tomorrow, and my living room is covered with pieces of paper, so I can see it all at once and lock it up, and then we go through editor.
So this is part of that's part of how we.
Stell, could you go to that mouse, and then just open up that second dock on the upper right.
On here.
Yeah. Go down to get back into your Mac, all the way down, off the screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you're back in the Mac. Yeah, open that thing up. So the typical scenario might be we're all talking about a mission, and we're talking about different approaches to moving something around. And we're here at Ames. Estelle is in Washington, D.C. with her Mac Mini. And then maybe Michael is down in Texas or something. So I'm able to control the position of all of those screens here with my little gyro mouse.
So just so we have orientation.
So this one here, yeah, is that one. This is my laptop over there, but it could be anywhere.
So you start to lose track.
Internet. And
then this is native on the wall. Right,
so just for clarity, that Mac and this Mac are VNC connected to the wall. Right? This mouse actually is directly wired.
It's what we're using right now is all free open source software. This screen can be up in here, and I can say, okay, Estelle, tell us about what's happening over here, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, well, that's interesting. We're going to table that for a sec, and now we're going to come over to Michael's screen, and he's going to tell us about whatever. And Michael can not only talk about his little slice there, but there's another application that lets you actually get a kind of thumbnail view of the wall, even when you're remote. So if you can see that,
yeah.
You can see what's going on there. So Michael can reposition his window on the large wall. So it has a lot of tools for working with a multi-user environment within all of that space.
And by the way, we're sort of rambling, and we'll continue to ramble and tell you about this.
Right.
Interrupt us and redirect us anytime you want.
And then the other thing is that
questions.
you can mirror, if you have another wall in another location, you can mirror the two walls. So when we connect down to UCSD, who is one of our partners down there, and there's a little handout on RT2, which is the lab at UCSD that we collaborate with. We can connect the walls and mirror what we have, so you can have a team there working on something and see exactly what they're seeing on the wall. And then you can VideoCon. You know, we've tried it both ways, where you have the VideoCon on the wall versus the VideoCon as though they're part of your audience. Personally, I prefer it set up so that it's part of the audience, so that they're part of your team. It's really more like your team is together looking at the same wall. But you could also do it so that they're on the wall looking at you. And it really, you know, what we've found with the institutes is meetings change very fluidly. So sometimes in the middle of the meeting, we'll be changing the layout of the technologies that you're using. So we'll move from someone presenting, where it's like a one-to-many broadcast, and then we'll move to more interactive, so we'll change the windows so that it's more interactive. You just start to get almost an intuitive sense after a while of what's needed, but having that flexibility is important, so you're not, you know, statically locked into one configuration.